Hi guys.
Hi guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. I'm Joshua.
And I'm Ope. We are so glad to be here.
Yes.
Today shooting another video, and in this video we're going to be talking about how we went through our pregnancy.
Yes.
So how we went through the period of being pregnant for Adasa, and well, N100k at the time.
Yes.
And note that only Joshua was N100k because I was doing my master's at the time, and when we got married, I had to resign my job in Jos and then move to Abuja and all that. So we're just going to share our pregnancy experience.
Yeah, I think we shared some part of it before in a different video.
Yes, we have shared. I think we've shared some part of it. We have a video on how we discovered we were pregnant.
Yeah.
You might want to watch that to get a little backstory because we are just going to go straight ahead. So, of course, when we discovered we got pregnant, like, we can call it our wedding night, but we discovered we were pregnant like a month after we were married. So we got married November 24th, and beginning of January, we discovered we were pregnant. January 8th or so,
first week of.
We discovered we were pregnant, and
it was just quite traumatic. Not traumatic. It was a little bit difficult because at that point, like we said, like the title of this video says, we're N100k. I was N100k.
Yeah.
She was still in school, doing her master's, and she just relocated. So she had a business, but relocating means business.
Yeah. So I had a baking business which I had to close down and to move to Abuja
after marriage.
So, and bear in mind that both of us were like fresh out of NYSC when we chose to get married, and we got married because we knew that God was leading us to get married at the time. And because we did a small wedding, we had some money actually after we got married. But I mean, this money we used it to pay our house rent and set up our house.
Like, so we had like 2 years house rent.
Yeah, so we paid our house
furniture.
rent. Yeah, so it's not like we just had extra money sitting down, say, oh, in case we have it. We didn't have in case we have a baby money.
I think we're even trying to still figure out what contraceptive to use.
Yeah, like we were in between figuring out what contraceptive works for me when we discovered I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So, of course, our worry was like, how will we be able to fund this baby? How will we be able to take care of a baby? And all that, how will we be able to buy all the things you need for a baby? Taking care of a baby is expensive, blah, 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 blah.
I think there was a time that when we were getting, like, a friend of mine got married early too. And then when I was there, we were talking about, like, you know how much it is to give birth in this Abuja? Hey, this amount. So that conversation was still in my head when we found out we were pregnant. I was just like, my God, how would we survive? But then we realized that was us putting a limit on who God was in our life.
We were looking to ourselves and our salary to be our source instead of looking to God. And I mean, at the time, we were also worried because we didn't have a car. Yeah. And like just a few months after that, a few months into my pregnancy, we got a car gift. Someone gifted us a car.
Yeah, shout out to Uncle P.
Yes, thank you so much for such a great gift. And aside from that, Joshua got like a lot of side extra jobs.
Yeah.
Like, he got a lot of side jobs. And we had enough money to buy all we needed. Like, bought baby bed. We bought a baby bed, car seat, everything we needed. We had bought when I was just 6 months pregnant. Yeah. Yeah. So
also there's something that we did. I think a neighbor of ours mentioned NHIS.
Yeah, mentioned NHIS to us. That's National Health Insurance Scheme.
So we're able to sign up for it. And
at that time, I think I paid 15,000 naira to register. And then it took like there was like a 3-month verification period. And then I was doing my antenatal and everything in a federal hospital, medical center at the time, and NHIS covered it. So the entire antenatal and delivery was free, basically. Because I was on National Health Insurance. We'll get to the delivery gist.
So how did your body change
during pregnancy? So I would say I noticed I was always very slim up until I got married. Yeah. Up until I got pregnant. So I think I was doing between like 55 to 58. I'm not sure. But then one way my body changed when I got pregnant was that I began to add weight, which is normal. Like, it's not like I added a lot of weight, but I did add weight, which comes with pregnancy. And then, of course, I lost my flat tummy. Your tummy cannot be flat while you're pregnant. So my tummy began to change. My bump began to grow. And my clothes didn't fit anymore. So it came with like some insecurity. I felt like my body was changing so fast. My body was changing every day. That's the thing about pregnancy. You don't even get used to, like, you're used to this body today, and then in 2 weeks you check and that body's not even the same. And this fits today, and then 2 weeks it doesn't fit. So the constant body changing, like, is something that you have to deal with when you're pregnant. And I think the fact that my husband accepted that really helped me, because there are times where I will look at myself and I'm just like, babe, I'm fat, I don't feel beautiful. And I'll be like, you're not fat, like, you look beautiful. You're the most beautiful pregnant woman I know. So
I wasn't just saying that to watch. I think just seeing you go through, your body go through those different changes was like, it was sort of exciting for me, because I just got to see you. It's the same you, but in different phases. It was just like, so it was not, I was not saying that just to make you feel like, oh yes, just feel, I'm just lying to you, you're actually beautiful.
So,
and there's something your skin does when you're pregnant, like it just
glows. Thank God. So if you are a husband of a pregnant wife,
and people who are going to be husbands of pregnant wives,
one thing to note is to affirm your wife during this period. She's struggling with a lot of insecurity about her body, because her body is changing every day. I mean, even if you are not an insecure person, pregnancy can make you insecure in sort of a way, because the body you are used to, the face you are used to, everything you are used to about yourself just changes and keeps changing until you have a child.
Yeah, so, and I think another thing is to just create avenues where your wife can dress up and take her out also, so she can still feel.
Exactly.
Although that might be tricky, because all of what I wanted to do was eat corn,
like amala,
take
like
agbalumo, eat amala.
Like I was
not even your birthday self.
Honestly, all those two things. I think on my birthday, Joshua said he wanted to take me on a date, and I was just like, all these fancy places. They don't. What I want to eat is amala, and I can't dress up and go to where I'm going to eat amala. So I was just like, so we didn't end up going.
We didn't end up going. I just had to get the amala and come back.
Yes.
So yeah, I was like, let's talk about how it affected sex, because it did affect sex, but not in a bad way.
Yeah, because I mean, people ask questions like, oh, how does pregnancy affect sex? Like, will you enjoy sex when you're pregnant? Are you able to have sex when you're pregnant and all that? So how did my pregnancy affect our sexual life? I think I would say maybe in the first trimester, I was still trying to like figure out my body, like how I was feeling with being pregnant. So I wasn't necessarily feeling very strong and energetic. So our sex life would have maybe like reduced. Like if we're doing it if we're doing it a lot of times during the week, we have to like slow down a bit. And my husband had to understand that, I'm going through a change here. So he had to manage his expectations, and have realistic expectations at that time. And then second trimester, it got better. And throughout my pregnancy, like, we had great sex. I think one interesting thing for us during pregnancy was constantly figuring out new positions.
Yes.
So
because of the bump. Yeah. As the bump grew,
like as the bump grew, as the bump is growing, like, okay, this position is not working anymore because my stomach is too big for this position. Okay, so we have to we have to adjust. So we kept on adjusting and finding positions. Like, oh my God, like I remember when I gave birth, we were just like, we can't do those pregnancy positions again. Because that's the truth. After I give birth, you just can't do them. So that was fun. I mean,
I think like for me, it was more of adjusting to realize that your body is changing. And the more you try to understand your body, the more patient I have to be for you to just get into the rhythm of. It's not as if you're not attracted to me, but at that moment, your body is changing. So you have to understand your body also, so that you know, okay, you're not doing sex just for me. Like you're doing sex because you want to enjoy sex also. I think that was just like me just being more patient, me just being more understanding, me just letting the flow of sex actually come from as comfortable as you can be. Do you understand?
I won't really say pregnancy made my sexual drive higher or lower. I know in my like last trimester I was tired a lot because my bump was bigger, and like towards those my last month I wasn't so enthusiastic to have sex because I was tired. Well, then we still had sex in that last month. Like we still had good, in fact, great sex. So pregnancy doesn't have to be a time when you don't have sex at all. But I know that everybody's pregnancy is like peculiar. So for me, I had a very, very healthy pregnancy. I was strong. I was
Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Myself. And that is because like I would say there's a faith aspect to this. So each time when I was pregnant, each time I saw any negative symptom, I would always say, like, I don't agree with this.
So it's not as if those symptoms just skipped you.
Yeah.
Like they actually came.
Yeah, like I think there was a time actually in my first trimester that I threw up once. And I was just like, I'm not going to throw up while I'm pregnant. Like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know why I threw up today, but I'm not going to throw up. And I just spoke like that, and it didn't happen again. Also, I used to hear, before I was pregnant, I used to hear things like pregnant women say that, I can't cook my food and eat it. And I used to say, like, I'll be able to cook my food and eat it. And I was able to do that. And if there was a point that I wasn't able to cook, I would say, what's happening? Like, cooking is something I enjoy, and I want to cook and enjoy my food during pregnancy. So I still used to cook and
I think you
and
even
enjoy.
cooked the day we went to the hospital. Because my mom came now.
No, I didn't cook actually. My mom was around, so my mom cooked.
Are you sure?
But like I remember that week anyway, I cooked because we had visitors, and I made jollof
I think
rice.
you entered the kitchen that day. I can remember clearly, vividly. I'm just thinking that because
Anyway, I can't remember, but
well,
I mean,
anyway.
I was very active during my pregnancy. So for you as a believer, there's a faith aspect to it. You know,
Yes.
you don't have to accept whatever symptom you see and that comes at
Before we even go for
you can
that,
choose to.
doctors and people can have terms for all those symptoms and explanations for all those symptoms. But like Ope is saying, like I actually saw her exercise her faith in so many areas. I was just like, that's actually amazing.
And like I didn't exercise my faith alone. So if there was any symptom that persisted, like I would hold hands with my husband, we would pray and say, we don't want this in our pregnancy and this has to leave. And we'll continue to pray and believe until it actually changes. So that sort of shaped our pregnancy, and that also helped us to bond spiritually and also prepare us for the next phase of parenting, because like you really need to be spiritually connected for that journey as well.
Yes, I just think that's how it affected our marriage. Like we just had to agree more on things together. I had to step up a lot more because there's some things you were able to do on your own before that you were not able to do again. So I had to step up and help. I had to be more attentive, more present, right? More around, more forgiving for you. Maybe you slept, like you're supposed to do something and you're like, I want to sleep, you don't want to go. Or you're supposed to go somewhere on this time and you're just like, I'm tired. You are going to go, but you're not going to go early. All those things, like you just had to, those are the kind of changes you had to make.
Also,
mentally.
like I wasn't able to do as much when I was pregnant, like when I was not pregnant. So I'm like typically a very active person. Like I do a lot and I enjoy to cook a lot. So of course, when I was pregnant, I wasn't cooking as much. I wasn't doing like as much as I would do before, especially during my third trimester when my bump got bigger. Like I couldn't stand for longer. So my husband really had to be hands-on, cook sometimes, handle majority of the cleaning in the house because that time we didn't have anyone cleaning for us and all that. Yeah. So those were adjustments we had to make in our marriage. All right, delivery. So delivery, remember we chose to use a federal hospital. So while this was the option we chose because that was all we could afford at the time, it also has disadvantages.
Yes.
So I remember after that we said, our next baby, we are not doing this again.
We are not.
Thank God we came out of this alive and healthy, but we're not doing this again.
Not again.
So one of the downsides is the fact that Joshua was not allowed into the labor room with me. So I was in labor for like over 20 hours. And Joshua was not with me. I was alone.
My head wanted to burst. Like I was trying to figure out like what you were going through, or just look at you, or just be there as support, and I couldn't. And I remember calling my friend Mayowa, shout out to Mayowa. He came, he sat with me, we prayed together, we took walks together, we gisted a bit, and it was just, I'm grateful for him because I would have gone out of my mind.
I mean, for me, I felt alone, but I kept on just praying through the whole process, and as I progressed, in the delivery. So as I progressed in dilation. So when I went to the labor ward, I was already like 4 cm. And then as I progressed, like it got more and more painful and all that. And I remember towards the end, I was just like, Jesus. And I felt like I was like going crazy. But at the end of the day, I think the challenging part was when it was time for me to push Hadassah out. And then I was actively trying to push her out and she wasn't coming out. And this was because she was a big baby. I mean, she was 4 kg when we gave birth to her. So eventually, the doctor had to, it took me like over an hour. In fact,
and this is another, before you go, this is the downside of using the federal, because they were doing scans. So, and that information was lost somewhere because they actually knew the weight of the baby. So that should have informed them that, you know what, Ope is not just because maybe they feel because it's your first time and you're not pushing. The baby is actually really big. And that delayed and it caused some complications.
Yeah, in a private hospital, I mean, where you have a personalized doctor, your doctor will have been monitoring you and will know the size of your baby. But in a federal hospital, you don't have a particular doctor assigned to you.
Yeah,
so when I was 10 centimeter, the doctor, like an emergency came up, so the doctor left to go and handle the emergency, and he told the midwife, oh, please handle her case, like, not please, handle her case, she's about to give birth. So I literally saw them preparing things, and I was like, oh, I started praying for this for you, and I was like, thank you, Jesus. This is almost over. And then the nurse started asking me to push, and brethren, I was trying, doing all I could, but the baby wasn't coming out. And the nurse kept on saying, oh, madam, you don't want this baby to come out. You're not pushing. And in my mind, I was like, I don't understand. What do you mean I don't want this baby to come out? Why am I here? Why am I here since morning? Do you think I came here to sleep? So, but aside from that, the midwife was a Christian, and at some point she started praying over me. She said, and that was another prayer Joshua and I prayed. At that time, we were like, God, we know because we are using like a federal hospital, we cannot determine the staff we come in contact with. We can't pick and choose. So just make it in such a way that everybody that will have contact with us will just be spiritually chosen by you. Like you'll be walking through them. So even though this woman, even though this woman had been mean to me, like she was quite harsh. But at some point when she saw that I was struggling, she started praying over me. I said, God, help this woman to push. She actually started praying for me. She doesn't know me from anywhere. She started praying for me. And then somehow, at the point where I was getting really critical, the doctor came back and he saw me. I was like, oh my God, this woman hasn't given birth. And at that point, I was so weak. So he had to call 2 midwives, one to hold my one leg and that person to hold the other leg, because I was so weak. I couldn't even sit up anymore. And then, like, he did an episiotomy and gave me a cut. And then practically I pushed and he helped me pull the baby out. The baby came out. And when she came out, she wasn't breathing. So that was like another challenge. And
that was the reason the reason for that was because she was inside for a long time. Yeah. So she might have taken something in. Yeah.
She was in the birth canal for a while, because remember I said I was trying to push her for over an hour, 30 minutes. So in that period, like she would have taken in some fluid. Her nose was blocked. So when she came out, she wasn't breathing, and they were trying to resuscitate her. And I remember lying there watching and just feeling like, this baby has to live, because like I just know she has to live. God has given me prophecies about her. She has to live. And I was sitting there, lying there, looking at her. She wasn't breathing, and the nurse was saying, "Madam, pray for your baby." And I was like, you don't need to tell me. So eventually they were able to resuscitate her, and then they placed her on oxygen, and then they rushed her to the ICU, and she was fine. So
I think, and let me just say my own part of that story.
All right.
So when they rushed her to the ICU, they called me to the ICU, and they were telling me. So after Ope came out and I went to see her, she was okay and everything. I called the ICU. They told me that there's some complications. They have to keep her here, put her on breathing apparatus, but I can go and see her. So I went to see her, took some pictures, and she was struggling to breathe, but she was breathing.
Now, we mean our daughter.
Yes, we mean our daughter. She was struggling to breathe, but she was on life support and some other things connected to her. So I came back outside and she was just in emergency. I think they called you to come and breastfeed her at least once or twice. Was it then or after later?
Yeah, it was later.
After she was.
After she got better.
After she got better, okay.
After 2 days.
Right. So there was a day that I think the next day I went to go and see her again, and they were just like, oh, they were like talking side. The nurses were talking side, and I was just like, what's going on? And then the doctor came and met me. I was like, oh, that she's not responding to treatment, and I could actually see her. She was white, and she was not like she had. It's like her breathing was very labored, like I don't even know how to explain, and it was making sounds. So long and short, doctor was telling me that she might not make it and everything, and I was just like, this can't happen. I've gotten prophecies, I've prayed over this child, and I just came out. I went down because Ope was in a ward, so I went down and I said hi to her. I said I'm very tired. I didn't tell her what's going on. I said I'm very tired. I want to go home and just lie down. But I'll come back. She said no problem. As I entered, immediately entered the car, I was actually crying. I was crying and driving. I was praying and driving. I was praying and driving. Thank God I got home safe because I can't even remember the drive. Immediately I got home, I called my pastor and I told him what's happening. Shout out to Pastor here. Love you so much, sir. Now I told him what I'm saying. Okay, he's going to stay awake now and pray with me. So I was praying. And at some point, I just heard in my heart, I heard the Lord say, her laughter will vibrate off the walls of this house. Her cries of joy would go. That's why that's like screams anyhow. Her cries of joy will echo the walls of this house. And it was just so poetic the way he said it. I was just like, this can't be me. This is definitely the Holy Spirit. So when that happened, I was just like, okay, no problem. I stopped praying and I went to bed. In fact, my pastor called me before I went to bed and was like, how do you feel? Like, I have a note of victory. I was like, sir, I have a note of victory too. So no problem. Thank God. And I just running up the prayer and I went to bed. It was around 4 a.m. And I woke up around 6 a.m. and went to the hospital. And guys, Hadassah was fine. They've removed the life support. I think they've even called to come and start giving her this thing. I think, and next day they discharged us and we came home.
Yes.
So she was fine.
I mean, God plays a major role in our lives.
A huge major role.
And our relationship with Him has really helped us through every phase of our lives. That's why it's very important for you as a single person to build your relationship with God.
Yeah.
And you know where they say, oh, the woman is the prayer warrior, the woman should. But there are times where you, as the man, as the head of the home, you would have to step in and exercise spiritual authority.
Yeah.
So it's important for both of you to be spiritual and have a relationship with God. When I was in labor, Joshua had to be praying for me.
Yeah.
And I know that's what made things go well. And even when Hadassah was in that critical situation, at that point I was weak. I couldn't pray. I just had a baby. Like,
I didn't even tell you. So.
He didn't even tell me. I couldn't handle that. But he handled it like spiritually. So guys, you have to be on guard spiritually.
You have to be on guard. You have to get married to somebody who takes their work with God serious also.
Yeah.
Because there are times when the devil will try and raise his head and you have to just like cut it off.
All right.
So I hope you guys have learned one or two things
from this video.
Please share, like, subscribe, comment. I think like I just remembered how it was then, and that's why my mood is just like it's like it was.
This is a very vulnerable video for us. Yeah. It's really why we spoke about this. Yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much.
We love you guys.
We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.